I'm Andrew Rea, aka Babish, and my last meal would be 2 eggs over medium with corned beef hash, multigrain toast with jams and butter, and French press coffee, chicken parm and pasta aglio e olio with a glass of bourbon, amberjack sashimi, salmon belly nigiri, and uni hand rolls, then maple syrup poured over snow, and cinnamon crepe chips with vanilla dip for dessert.
Every person has exactly 2 things in common. We all gotta eat and we're all gonna die. Today we're joined by Italian-American food connoisseur, avid tattoo haver, creator of the Babish culinary universe, and author of the cookbook Basics with Babish on the New York Times bestseller list. Andrew Rea, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you so much for having me, man. What an introduction. I've never been heard as an avid haver of tattoos, and I like that.
You have tattoos very avidly, and you also receive them avidly, and I know that because you and I both got tattooed in your studio kitchen while there was just chicken parm bacteria floating in the air.
Chicken parm bacteria, yes.
And you and I are indelibly linked when we ultimately go to the grave because I have your face tattooed on my back and you have a spork tattooed on your arm.
Precisely.
Have you thought about your last meal before?
Of course, who hasn't? Have people said like, no, I've not thought about my last meal?
Actually, more people than not, and I've learned that there are a lot happier, more optimistic people than myself out there who don't obsessively think about death or obsessively think about food, but I get the sense that you're one of the people who does both.
I used to think obsessively about death, and now happily I'm getting past that. But and food I don't think about at all, and I'm kidding. I love that you say that those are the 2 things that we all have in common. There's also being born that we have that in common. Shitting, pissing, and breathing, and anything else?
But those are the things I don't even think about. Like, being born, you have no recollection of. I don't think you're a human until you actually achieve consciousness. So to me, it's like, hardly even an event in my life. Shitting, I don't even have to think about anymore. It just comes out of me.
But is consciousness just the malaise of age and thinking and overthinking, and is that what consciousness is, or is it just the awareness of being a person?
I think if you are able to suffer, you are conscious, and I don't think that suffering can exist before you are conscious, if that makes sense.
You should tell any baby I've ever seen at a restaurant that suffering's not possible before you're conscious, because it seems like they're having a hard time.
Yeah, and I'm having a hard time too, because I can't focus on my chicken parm. I got a baby crying in my ear. Parents, find a sitter or don't go. No, I'm kidding, those people are insufferable. You ready to eat?
Woo, hot take, yeah.
Andrew, for the first course of your final meal, we have 2 over medium fried eggs on top of corned beef hash. This is fresh made. We diced the Yukon Gold potatoes ourselves, braised the corned beef, multigrain bread from République, which you said is the best breakfast you've ever had, with some whipped Normandy butter and golden raspberry jam, and then a giant carafe of French press coffee. May I pour you up?
Yes, thank you. Sweet morning glory. You're not gonna press it?
Yes,
What's going on?
I don't know how to work it.
Just plunge.
Bro, I drink Folgers. I don't know, you do it. No, I'm already screwing up the last meal, you do it.
I would love to pour you coffee.
Thank you so much.
Me first, though.
People think I would like coffee, but I drink black silk Folgers and I have a gag reflex to it.
Everybody's always trying to yuck one's yum, and you can have whatever kind of coffee you want.
Thank you.
That being said, you're a wimp.
I am an absolute wimp.
Cheers, I'm kidding.
Cheers. Why do I instinctively do that like we're ripping shots at a bar? God, I need to readjust my life.
Old habits die hard.
Tell me about the République breakfast and why it means so much to you.
I mean, it was my first time visiting LA, and I went there for breakfast, and it just blew me away because it was just like the best version of each of these, you know, 2 eggs any style kind of breakfast. A little personal French press and fresh baked bread, and it was just amazing. And you got the bread from République. What a mitzvah. Thank you so much. What a kindness.
Baruch Hashem, man. Dig in.
Yeah, man.
République's such a beautiful restaurant too, because it's like in an old cathedral, and you're just in there, like you feel like you're staring up at God.
Yeah, no, that's.
Did you feel that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel that all the time. But yeah, no, it's such a there's so much regency to the place.
I believe République discontinued their corned beef hash, and so we actually called them to get the recipe for it.
Already, I feel so spoiled. Have you noticed? And I'm going to point this out because very few people on the internet have noticed this, and each time it's struck a chord with me. I only realized a couple of years ago that I hold my fork funny.
Do you really? Wait. Oh my God. Where did that come from? How are you supposed to
go like this? Right?
I didn't know how to use a French press. I don't know how to hold a fork.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, no judgment in either direction, but.
How does it feel to learn more about yourself from the millions of people on the internet?
It's interesting because it does shine a spotlight on every little thing that you do. Nice soft butter, Normandy butter, hell yeah. The toast is warm. How'd you do this?
What? Toaster?
Still, we're on TV.
We have an incredible team. So Nicole, Lily, Trevor, and V are all in another kitchen out there with a monitor that is tethered to watching what we do so they can actually course out all the meals fresh so we got hot food. That's
brilliant. And also just that you have your producers right off camera so we can hear their laughter, because then we know our jokes are landing. Right, guys? See?
Why don't you laugh like that when it's just me here? They scowl and they throw tomatoes at me.
Because you're too funny too relentlessly. It's kind of like that movie, or not that movie, Veep, where like Veep is so powerfully funny that you have to rewatch it because you lose so much because you're still laughing from the last joke. And that's like you. You're like real life Veep.
Can I read for you a summary of your life/YouTube career? Because I don't want to make you give your whole origin story again. But let me know if you object to any characterizations. You went to film school, married your high school sweetheart, drifted apart, worked way too long on an editing gig, had a 2-week depressive breakdown, got into therapy, got divorced, found yourself and your creativity, started binging with Babish for funsies.
That happened right before I got divorced, but yes.
And now you have money and success and you're happy and nothing is wrong.
Yeah, no, everything's perfect and life's all you have to do is make a lot of money, and it turns out that's where happiness comes from.
But that is the only thing that drives me. I mean, the internal, creative brain that it's money. Like it's this thought that one day there will be nothing wrong. Did you have that thought before you went into it?
Well, yeah, that's kind of the human condition, is that if I get here, or there, rather, not here, if I get there, I'll be happy. And there never arrives. It's always there. Even if you get there where you imagine there was, there becomes, it's a goalpost that constantly moves. So that at first depressed the hell out of me, but then, I'm realizing that there are practices that you can do to stop moving the goalpost and to stop trying to get there and to just be here. I'm not going to try to force you to meditate with me, don't worry.
Wait, has that been a huge key to you, like finding some semblance of happiness and stillness?
So I want it to work fast and now.
Yeah, same.
So I just shotgun practice. Like I do literally like at least 4 different kinds of meditation. I do a mantra meditation, it was transcendental meditation, which is like a popular thing with celebrities or something. I do loving kindness meditation. I do 2 different apps. I do breath work, just constant. I'd say any given day there's a bare minimum cumulative 1 hour of meditation happening, at least.
Do you think that has helped the private you or the public you more? Or is there a difference?
Absolutely the private me. It has not yet helped the public me. But there's a lot of factors at play. I got into meditation as a coping mechanism for massive trauma that happened last year, and so it was a coping mechanism, it was a tool to try to get through it at first, and now I'm realizing that I know that eventually, and again, this is another goalpost, you especially can't set goalposts with meditation. It's a big paradox. Everything's a big paradox. What are we even doing here? Everything's upside down.
We're just gonna poop this food out.
Yeah.
Why are we even eating it?
Yeah.
For a second of happiness, it's gonna be gone, washed away by the coffee like tears in the rain.
And we're getting too deep into it for breakfast. We have a few more courses to go.
I was gonna ask you about the major trauma though.
Oh yeah, sure. So last year was really rough. I had a sort of mental spin out that saw me going into what's called a hypomanic state. I basically didn't sleep for 4 nights in a row. And when you do that, your frontal cortex shuts down, and you stop not the voice, but the part of your brain that says, "Yeah, it's not a good idea." It's just like, I'm going to go to sleep. If the rest of you's not going to go to sleep, I'm going to go to sleep. Yeah. So basically, we had a live stream to do, and I was so excited for it, and I was so, all over the place trying to help Planet and stuff that I didn't realize that it was 5 minutes to the live stream and I was still in my pajamas running around, like checking the ingredients and working with the crew and everything. And they were all like, something ain't right. And so Sawyer and Brad, my 2 dearest friends, Sawyer's my dearest friend, and these are both people that I work with, sat me down. I ranted and raved nonsensically. And then I had the idea you guys just do the live stream. It'll put the spotlight on you, and I screamed, Eureka, and I fell on my bed. And as soon as I did that, I was like, this isn't me.
Yeah.
I'm not being myself. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to the hospital. I'm gonna go to the hospital. And unfortunately, while I was there, they didn't sedate me. I was kind of, ranting and raving, so they thought I had gone off my meds or I was on some kind of drug, so they put me in the psych ward. And this was in a bad hospital in Brooklyn. Yeah. So it was a bad psych ward. And
did you specifically ask them to sedate you, or you just sort of figured you'd go there and they'd figure out what to do?
A little of both. Something that typically happens a lot with mania is that you think that you're doing things for God, or like you're on some sort of holy mission or whatever. So I trusted that, if I go there, they're gonna know what to do, and I'm just surrendered to that. And so I landed myself in the psych ward. And here's where it's gonna get really heavy. Here we go. Ready? So my roommate basically sexually assaulted me, and it drove me into basically a state of pure quiet. And when I left, my dad and my brother were there. They didn't know any of this was happening. They just drove down to New York because I hadn't been communicating. They knew something was wrong. They just drove down. They happened to be like 2 blocks away from the hospital. They didn't know I was there. It was wild. And I got in the back of the car and they were like, "Where do you want to go?" And I said, "Rehab. We go rehab." Because I just didn't know what was real anymore. I didn't. Up was down. Nothing made sense. And I was like, I just need to remove myself entirely from everything. I thought maybe I had a drug problem. I didn't even know. At the time, I was the most sober I'd ever been in my life. I had given up drinking for a couple months. I think that might have actually played a role in it. And I went into rehab completely clean, like beautifully ironic to me that I spent 28 days in a rehab with no substance issue. But I needed it. I needed to be away from society. I needed to be around doctors and psychiatrists who could help me. And that's exactly what I got, and it was a very valuable experience. I also am hugely supportive of those programs, and if people need help, they should absolutely seek it out because it can really change your life. I was with people whose lives were just completely destroyed, and they left with more optimism than they had ever had in their lives. So it was a really beautiful and interesting place. And then after that, for unrelated reasons that I won't go into out of respect for her privacy, but my engagement ended, and just found myself sort of starting from scratch in some ways. I've just started opening up about it a little bit. I did a post on Reddit to just sort of update my viewers as to what happened and why things have kind of been different over the past year. And now this is my first time saying it in a truly public forum. So this is it actually feels kind of good because I've always been very open with my audience, and it felt very weird to be reserved and not open and truthful about what I'm dealing with and what I'm going through. This is a very long answer to your question about whether or not it improves my front of camera life or
I don't care about that anymore.
Yeah, and I told you it was going to get heavy. I'm sorry if that was too much for this.
No, we're just going to need something stronger than coffee.
No, for sure. That'll be next, right?
Oh, thank God the bourbon's here.
Oh,
cheers.
Cheers.
Jesus. So here we have, you left the bourbon choice up to me. Oh God, that's good. So this is Garrison Brothers 94 proof.
Yeah, no, this is delicious and an informed choice. Cheers, man.
Cheers, man. And then of course we have the pasta aglio e olio. This is linguine boiled till al dente and then sauteed in garlic, chili, and a little bit of parsley emulsified with the pasta water. And chicken parm made 2 ways. Now this, we have history with this. This is your method of chicken parmesan with the panko breadcrumbs, cheese on the bottom, sauce on the top. I get it, it protects crispiness. And then we got mine with the Progresso Italian breadcrumbs seasoned on it, and then slathered in sauce to get the perfect sog, low moisture shredded mozz, just to get that nice leopard spotting.
I can't believe you did not only the different breading, but the different method. Like that's incredibly thoughtful. Now we get to try them head to head. Like we got to do it sort of at my place, but we just made them, tasted them, and then made the next one. But now they're right next to each other. Yours looks way better.
Yes, it does.
The browning on it's like that is the classic chicken parm look. Mine looks significantly worse.
Thank you. I'm so curious to try this head to head because last time we cooked this in your apartment, I was just drinking to try and steal my nerves for getting a tattoo done by a man named Joseph with no E in his name. Anywho, wait, let me try chicken parm. Wow. Oh God, so hot.
We're in an open chicken parm relationship. It's cool.
No, I can't come up with a tongue. This is all pleasure everywhere we go.
Polly is chicken. No, oh, whatever.
I mean, I'm back.
Here's the thing. They're both really good, but I will agree that yours is more chicken parm.
Thank you.
This is like a fried chicken cutlet with sauce and cheese on it, which rules.
Sometimes you can improve on the original. You know, sometimes Olive Garden just got it right.
Olive Garden always gets it right.
God dang right. Tell me about the Reddit post. How did the community react to you opening up like that?
It was a place not only of support, but people also sharing not necessarily the details of their stories, but the fact that they had gone through. You told me earlier that it was like, it's a trope that you got your mouth full when somebody's talking about their dead dad. And I was like,
please talk about your sexual assault while I slurp down pasta more.
When I posted on the Reddit thread, not only were people super supportive, but they like opened up about their own stories. They clearly we had touched on something that made the channel great in the first place, which was just like our sense of community in this normally just completely parasocial relationship. And it was really beautiful. I was very nervous to do it. I wrote and rewrote the draft for like a couple days and then finally hit post and just didn't look at it for a few hours. I was like, I can't even deal with this. And then I come back and it's just this hundreds of comments that just not only supportive, but just open and sharing and curious and kind. It was a very rare thing on the internet to happen en masse.
An incredibly rare thing, but not necessarily with you, because I remember when I first started following your channel and then I started, looking up interviews with you, you were very open and very candid. And I know now we're sort of in this like therapy industrial complex where it's almost hyper common for people to say that, but you were somebody that 6-7 years ago, and we're talking very openly and unashamedly, almost like proudly, like, hey, we all start from a place and hopefully end up somewhere better, and it's all a big journey. Do you remember a very long, heartfelt email I sent you like 4 years ago?
Yes, I can't recite it word for word, but no, you sent me
You know who can? Can I do a dramatic reading of it?
Please, yeah.
Because I remember sending it, and then I don't exactly remember what it said, and then I looked it up the other day, and I was like, I think this would be a good moment.
I hope I responded in kind.
Yeah, you definitely responded. No, we share the anxious avoidance thing in common, though.
Yeah, no, that's a huge thing. It's like, sometimes I've killed a couple friendships because so long has passed since I've responded to their text that I get so embarrassed that it just compounds with time, and then eventually it's just like, why even try? It's just over.
This is after a bit of preamble, but we've never gotten to talk all that much, what with the constant need to make content and be funny. But I just wanted to say how much it means to me that you speak so candidly about depression and anxiety. When I was finishing my cookbook manuscript a few years ago, I had a massive anxiety attack and started uncontrollably crying in a Starbucks for like 2 hours. A few weeks later, I had a breakdown in a meeting at the magazine I worked at, and when I walked in the next day, they told me to clean out my desk. For the next 9 months, I was so burnt out that I couldn't bring myself to write, and every day I'd either just lay in bed catatonic or obsessively exercise to escape the daily pressure. Got jacked though.
Yeah, look at you.
I was also stuck in a shitty relationship for 6 years. Anyways, making cooking videos and getting the hell out of that relationship is also what saved me from what I assumed was perennial dread and misery. And it's really cool seeing someone at the top of the game, a game that often prioritizes hiding those vulnerabilities, be so open, and allow others to feel less alone.
I definitely didn't see that because that really was gorgeous, and I'm sorry that I didn't see it. Let me give you
dude, no apologies necessary. It's a hard table to hug in.
Oh, what a terrible hugging table. How are you supposed to do a good interview here?
Yeah, no, it actually happened because I kept trying to hug the guests. They were like, let's put a corner where he can't do that.
That's so apropos after the conversation we've been having that you'd think that we scripted this, but we surely didn't. Thank you very much for breaking that out. It not only makes me feel a lot better about sharing the things I just shared, but also, wow, man, you're a great writer, and you really know how to connect with people, and that's why you're so good at what you do. If this is our last meal, I'm happy. I would be very happy for this to be my last meal.
Andrew, course number 3, we have salmon belly nigiri, we have amberjack sashimi, we have uni hand rolls. These are dying in the window. You got to eat these fresh.
First up. Oh.
You can see, the delicious uni genital in there.
I always thought of it more like a tongue. I know it is a genital, but it looks like a tongue.
I'm not a scientist, but technically I think tongue is part of the genitals.
They really know how to do it in the ocean. You know?
Tell me about the sushi.
I used to hate all seafood, like all seafood. I never thought that sushi would be the thing to get me into seafood, and I can't remember where they took me, but it was a nice sushi place in New York, and it was these 3 things specifically that you so kindly prepared. And uni in particular, the butter of the ocean. I never thought that that spiny rock that contains these genitals would so sway me.
I want to ask you about the future, because you said that you felt like you were effectively starting from scratch after going to rehab, and everybody knows, happiness, mental health, none of it's a linear journey. But say, hypothetically, 5 years from now, the happiest version of yourself exists. What does your day-to-day look like?
My goals are becoming less, what will it take to make me happy day to day? And how can I just be happy day to day no matter what's going on?
Yeah.
Because you can't control what's gonna happen. You can set all the goals you want to in life. I didn't have any goal to become a YouTuber. I didn't have any goal to become a public-facing figure, ever. That was never my aspiration, but it happened. So if you had asked me that 8 years ago, I'd be like, what? Are you, that's gonna happen? Incredulous laughter. But wherever I am and whatever I'm doing, I just wanna be happy in that moment, not necessarily because I did this or accomplished this or built this or got paid this amount. Be nice, but I feel like there's so much stuff in my teeth. Thank you.
Got it. But certainly there are like physical situations that lend, I'm going hands, that lend better to happiness than others, right? Like, do you think that part of you needs that high stress situation to strive and survive? Like, is there any point at which you just disappear and open up a Babish's Bangor Bagelry? My
bug out plan is grab Airstream or some kind of whatever and just something that my cat won't freak out in, which she's very sensitive, and just smoke a lot of weed and just enjoy myself. That's my retirement plan too. I'd want to, because like I want to know that I would be as happy doing the bug out plan and just living a smaller, quieter life, or a bigger, louder one. I want to know that I would be, that I would be comfortable with both, and I don't want to like push blindly toward one or the other the way that I did. That's what spun me out, was thinking that there is a finish line and there isn't. Life is a long distance run. It's not there's no finish line.
Life is a highway and you want to ride it.
When I started making the channel, I was at my lowest. I had just gotten out of a 1.5 year long project on a documentary that went nowhere, just face planted, and all my work that I only got paid $4,000 for,
Jesus Christ,
editing this feature documentary over the course of a 1.5 years. Lo and behold, a few months later, I started making the thing that would change my entire life, and now here we are, another 7 years later, and I feel in some ways on a much larger version of the same precipice, and it's really encouraging to think about that way, that you don't know what's going to happen and it could change all just very dramatically for the better or worse as perceived in the moment, but that's an exciting way to live life, is in that moment. So I want, wherever I am in 5-10 years, I want to be in that moment where I'm ready for things to change.
But so, I mean, a lot of this is, when I ask you a question, I'm thinking about it myself, and now suddenly I don't care whatsoever, and I'm gonna get an Airstream and smoke some pot.
Let's roll, dude. You and me. Let's enter into a sort of common law thing in the trailer.
Polyamorous chicken parm, baby.
I'd say Polly. Your wife will understand. She can stay in LA. But no, poly chicken parm. Polio. That's cheese. We're getting somewhere. We'll get somewhere.
We'll find the pun eventually. It doesn't exist.
Poultry.
Poulet-amor. We got it. No. Don't you dare cut the cameras.
Poultry-amorous.
Poultry-amorous. Andrew, for your final course, we have maple syrup poured on snow, which is something I'm incredibly ignorant to, and then we have crepe chips. These are crepes that have been cut and then fried, served with vanilla dip, and I have no idea what any of this is. I could tell you how we made it, I just don't know what it is. Please explain.
All right, so I used to work at a place called Simply Crepes in Rochester, and my job was just to make crepes all day, and they would make these, and it was like grown-up Dunkaroos, because it's a cracker with cinnamon sugar and this vanilla kind of custard or frosting dip. And this one, so my mom, whenever it would snow, I grew up in Rochester, New York, every winter when we get the big, first drop of powdery snow, she would just grab she would keep all the Cool Whip containers and use them as Tupperware, and they would turn orange from all the sauce and stuff she would put them. So a nice orange Cool Whip container, with full of fluffy snow, and then she just pour maple syrup over it. I thought it would, like, not only was it delicious and charming, but I thought it was her invention. And then later on in school, I took a school trip to Canada, as we all do, and they took us to a sugar shack, as they all do. And sugar shacks, I guess this is a thing in Canada, where they'll literally like pile a channel of snow down a long table, and then they'll pour this thick maple syrup over top, and then they'll use, you know, lollipop sticks and stuff to roll up these like chewy gunks of yeah.
We got the lollipop sticks.
Yeah.
Please teach me, because I have no idea. No, you do it. I'll watch you.
I don't even really know how to do it. They just literally just like.
Either way, we're eating this snow and we're eating the maple syrup on top of it.
Hell yeah.
And now you twirl it or something, right?
Yeah, hopefully it will sort of solidify and we'll be able to just kind of peel it off, if not. And so the story there, oh yeah, look.
Okay, wait, I'm doing it.
And the story here is that at that school trip, not only was I bragging because I was like, my mom invented this, but I ate way too much, like a medically unsafe amount. And basically my roommates, no, that's smart, that's the way to do it.
I don't think I did it right.
I think you did it exactly how you did it, which is the right way. But so on this school trip, my roommates in my hotel room, I started like becoming nonverbal and turned gray and was shaking, and they were like, we gotta call the hospital. They were trying to give me anti-nausea and pills or something, and I couldn't keep them down. So, in front of my Spanish teacher, they gave me a suppository.
En español.
Un suppositoria. That's so good. Oh, I gotta start making that joke.
You can take it, man. You're welcome. You've given me this gift of knowing how to perfectly make maple candy.
But yeah, no. So I have a lot of attachment to these things. Let's try this out. Oh, this looks great. Big respect that you fried the chips too, because they bake them at Simply Crepes.
No, not here. This is your last meal, man. You're going out. You don't got to worry about. You ain't got to worry about the, what are they called, seed oils that people are all weird about now?
Is that a thing?
I don't know, man.
I don't care.
But so your first good book, the first real one, was dedicated to your mother who passed away from cancer when you were 11 years old. Did that affect the way that you thought about like life and death, or even what made a successful life from a young age?
I didn't deal with it. I was 11, and my dad was beside himself. He loved my mom so much, and it just wrecked him. And so just all through middle school, 6th to 8th grade, I just like pushed it down, didn't deal with it, became more and more antisocial, did worse and worse in school. I was having a bad time, and then my dad sent me to this private school, and luckily this place was so awesome and had one teacher named Bob Kane, who has since passed away himself, but he, while he was there, started the hospice program, which was a year-long course that you could take as a senior. And the first half of the year, you'd learn about the sort of just the chemical process of death and dying, different spiritual beliefs around it.
This is a program for children?
Yeah,
that's incredible.
For seniors in high school. And then the second half of the year, you'd actually go to hospices and pair up with somebody who was going to die and experience their passing with them. And that would be life-changing if I hadn't had such a close experience with death, but it finally forced me to face it. And with that also came my very first experiences with meditation. That teacher would do a candle meditation with us. There was an incredibly profound time when the person I was paired up with, when he died, he loved Bob Dylan, and we went back to school after it happened, and Bob sat me and my other classmates down, and he lit a candle and he put on Mr. Tambourine Man, and we just sat there and contemplated. We wanted, every bone in our body wanted to talk and commiserate and figure it out, but he was just like, no, just be here with what you're feeling, with what you just experienced, just be here with it, allow it to have happened. So he really changed my life, and he died himself a few years ago from blood cancer, but he has made an incredible mark on the world and certainly on me. Does that answer your question? I don't know.
Of course it answers that. How did that not come up until we're eating melted snow, man? No, that's incredible, and I think there's so many people who, even if they've dealt with death, they've dealt with it in an abstract way that doesn't really stare it in the face. Like, not to pivot this interview on myself, but the only reason I started chasing any sort of creative career, and I know external validation is not yada yada, however, was because I watched my dad die when I was 19, and he's somebody that every time I was like, all I want is financial stability, I'm gonna work for the government, do whatever, he was just like, you are going, he's like, I know my life didn't turn out how I thought it would, and I couldn't make your life turn out how I wanted it to, but if you only chase safety, you are going to regret it. And I was like, big whoop, old man. And then he died, and that's how I talked to him. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
That's always given me a certain amount of perspective, was watching death very up close and like in a pretty visceral way.
I appreciate how head first you go into these interviews, not only because you're a great interviewer, but also because of the theme of this show, which is we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
And sorry if you're just learning this, but yeah.
No, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. In Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's On Death and Dying, she's the one that coined the 5 stages of grief. She calls the way Americans treat death as a very unique God complex, especially coming out of World War II, being like, we can conquer anything, and refusing to acknowledge that it exists. And it sure does, man. It's coming for us all. And in the meantime, there was pee in this snow, by the way. There was a little bit of pee. If
there's
you tasted
pee in
that,
all snow.
There's pee in all snow.
Yeah.
Your book. The tagline of your book is something about making mistakes. I thought I wrote it down. Recipes for screwing up, trying again, and hitting it out of the park, which, damn, if that isn't a metaphor for your life, my life, everybody's freaking life out there,
yeah,
I don't know what is.
Most of food media, even social media, what you're seeing is a sanitized version of reality in the kitchen. I mean, you're seeing, okay, that's a good metaphor for social media in general. You're seeing a sanitized version of reality. But in the kitchen, it's no exception. People will make things look perfect the first time, and it will make you feel wholly inadequate, just the same way everything else on social media does. And I wanted to, shine some light on the fact that cooking is messy, literally and figuratively. So yeah, every recipe comes with a description of how I've screwed it up personally, because I wanted people to see the person who wrote this book has messed it up multiple times. So if you do, it's not the end of the world, and there's not this pedestal between me and you. We're both, everybody's just doing their best and screwing up constantly and hoping that it works out.
You ready to get in the lightning round?
Ready.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Other than me, who's the one person, dead or alive, you'd want to share your actual last meal with?
I should have an answer for this. Other than you.
Do you like Radiohead? It could be the guy from Radiohead.
I like Radiohead,
okay.
So yeah, sure. No, I'm kidding.
What's his name, Tom?
Okay. And this is a little bit of star and they, there's 2 of them, but Daniel's the guys who directed Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
That's one of the best movies ever made, and I'm fascinated by them, and I would love to pick their brains to just see how they
can only be one.
Daniel Kwan.
Daniel Kwan. Ha! Suck it, other Daniel. What song do you want to be played?
I can't remember other Daniel's last name, so that's really why.
What song do you want to be played at your funeral?
Serious one is Hole of the Moon by Kieran J. Callanan. I got a tattoo for it. I'm an avid tattoo haver.
Yes, you are.
And it's my favorite song of all time. I love it. It's beautiful. And goofy one, worst Chili Peppers album.
Play it on loop, baby. What's your biggest fear?
Hurting somebody, like literally or figuratively, like somebody jumping out in front of my car, me not seeing them, something like that. Like just grievously injuring or emotionally destroying somebody. I hate it, and it's what I constantly try to avoid at all times.
What's your greatest regret in life?
Is it really lame if I say that I don't have regrets?
No, that's what most people say, so it's kind of lame in that regard.
Okay, yeah, see, I hate being a parrot like this. To have a regret is to basically be like, I did bad and I should have done better, and you couldn't have. So I'm gonna be basic and say that I, at the very least, don't want to have any regrets.
Finally, are you happy? As if we didn't talk about it the entire episode. You got crepe chips. How can you not be happy, man? Come on.
I am happy. Later I won't be. And later I will be again. And I am so happy right now to be here with you and to be sharing this meal with you. I'm so grateful that you had me. And I know that as soon as an hour from now, I could be beside myself in unhappiness. And for my entire life, I've been lost in however I'm feeling.
There's actually like a 30-word limit on that, so if you could, no, seriously, yes. Man, that's an incredibly profound answer, and something I hadn't thought about. And I just wanted to thank you for coming on, man, for the candor. I love you to death. It's weird to say you look up to your friends, but I mean, I've looked up to you for a long time, and today absolutely proved why.
I describe you to everybody that I meet as one of the most perilously, like violently funny people. But you also have so much depth and care and wonder to you that you're an inspiration to me. I absolutely look up to you. It's not physically possible that we could both look up to each other, but we'll try in bed tonight.
If you want to deliver your last words.
Go easy on yourself. The voice in your head wants to tell you that you're nothing that you should be. And in fact, you're everything that you're supposed to be.
That was great, man. Most people are like, the buried treasure was which is a good one too.
Well, that's actually from, it's a Frasier quote, but whoever stole that from Frasier, but that's fine.
Andrew, thank you again, man. Everybody check out Basics with Babish on the New York Times bestseller list, wherever you get your books. You know the deal. We're back here at Mythical Kitchen all the time, constantly, until the day we actually die. See y'all next time. Face the reality of mortality head on with our new Last Meals hat and tee, available now at mythical.com.